What if I told you that a bird could outsmart a 7-year-old child? Sounds impossible, right? But scientists have discovered something extraordinary about crows. These black-feathered geniuses aren't just smart. They're solving puzzles that leave human children stumped. Welcome to the fascinating world of corvid intelligence, where everything you thought you knew about bird brains is about to change. For centuries, humans dismissed birds as simple creatures, driven purely by instinct. The term bird brain became an insult. But in the early 2000s, researchers at the University of Cambridge decided to put crows to the test. What they found shocked the scientific community. They designed a series of intelligence tests, the same ones used to measure problem solving in young children. The star of the show was a New Caledonian crow. These birds are already famous for their tool-making abilities in the wild. In their natural habitat, these crows fashion hooks from branches to fish out insects from tree bark. But could this translate to abstract thinking? The first test was simple: a treat floating in water inside a tall, narrow tube, too deep for the crow's beak to reach. Human children under 7 typically struggle with this challenge. They'll try to tip the tube over or reach in desperately with their fingers. But the crow, it looked around the room, spotted a pile of small stones, and began dropping them into the tube one by one. Each stone raised the water level slightly. The crow was using the Archimedes principle, a concept that baffled ancient humans for centuries. After just a few stones, the treat floated high enough for the crow to pluck it out triumphantly. The researchers were stunned. This wasn't just instinct. This was reasoning, planning, and understanding cause and effect. But they didn't stop there. They made the test harder. They placed both heavy and light objects in front of the crow. Only the heavy stones would sink and displace water. The light foam pieces? Useless. Could the crow figure this out? The crow examined each object carefully. It picked up a foam piece, seemed to weigh it in its beak, then tossed it aside. It selected only the heavy stones, dropping them into the tube with methodical precision. This wasn't trial and error. This was understanding material properties. When researchers compared these results to human children, they found something remarkable. Children aged 5 to 7 struggled with the heavy versus light distinction. Many kept trying to use the foam pieces, hoping they would somehow work. But crows? They figured it out almost immediately, often on the very first try. This sparked a question: what makes corvid brains so special? After all, bird brains are tiny compared to ours. The answer lies not in size, but in density. Crow brains pack neurons incredibly tightly, far more densely than mammalian brains. In fact, a crow's brain has about the same number of neurons as some small monkeys, despite being a fraction of the size. This neural density gives them remarkable cognitive abilities. But intelligence isn't just about hardware. It's about how you use it. Let's talk about problem solving. In another famous experiment, researchers presented crows with a multi-step puzzle. A treat was locked inside a box. To open it, the crow needed to use 3 different tools in the correct sequence. First, it had to retrieve a short stick. Then use that stick to get a longer stick. Finally, use the long stick to unlock the box. This requires what psychologists call future planning, the ability to work toward a goal that's several steps away. When tested, most crows solved it within minutes. Human children under 8? They often got frustrated and gave up. But perhaps the most impressive demonstration of crow intelligence comes from their social behavior and memory. Researchers in Seattle conducted a fascinating experiment. They wore masks while capturing and banding wild crows for research. The experience was mildly stressful for the birds, but not harmful. Still, the crows remembered. Weeks later, when researchers walked through campus wearing the same masks, crows would dive bomb them, calling out alarm cries. But here's the truly remarkable part. Crows who had never been captured also attacked the masked researchers. The original crows had taught their families and neighbors. They communicated specific threats across their entire community. This cultural transmission of knowledge continued for years. Baby crows born after the original experiment still recognized and avoided those masks. Think about that. Crows have cultural memory. They pass down specific information through generations, just like humans. But their talents don't stop at memory. Crows are also capable of something we rarely see in animals: deferred gratification. In one study, crows were offered a choice: eat a small treat now, or wait 15 minutes for a much larger reward. Young children typically fail this test spectacularly. The famous marshmallow test that predicts future success. But crows? Many of them waited patiently, occupying themselves by playing with nearby objects until the time was up. This demonstrates executive function, the ability to control impulses and plan for the future. It's a hallmark of higher intelligence. Now, you might be wondering, are crows just the Einstein of the bird world? Not exactly. The entire corvid family, which includes ravens, magpies, and jays, shows similar remarkable intelligence. Ravens, for example, have been observed engaging in play, sliding down snowy hills repeatedly, purely for fun. Play behavior is considered a sign of intelligence because it shows the animal has mental space beyond just survival. Magpies are the only non-mammal species to pass the mirror test, recognizing their own reflection. When researchers painted a mark on a magpie's body that it could only see in a mirror, the bird tried to remove it, showing self-awareness. This puts them in an exclusive club with great apes, elephants, dolphins, and humans. Jays, meanwhile, show episodic memory. They remember not just what they cached, but where and when. If they hid perishable food days ago, they'll retrieve non-perishable items first, showing they understand time decay. So what explains this family-wide genius? Evolution gave corvids a unique challenge. They're generalists. Unlike specialists that perfect one skill, corvids had to survive in varied environments, eating different foods, facing different threats. This pressure favored flexible, creative thinking. Those who could solve novel problems survived and passed on their clever genes. Today, crows thrive everywhere from Arctic tundra to tropical cities, from rural farmland to dense urban centers. Their success is our success story too. As humans spread across the globe, crows followed, learning to exploit our wasteful habits. In Japan, crows learned to drop hard nuts in front of cars at traffic lights, then swoop down to collect the crushed contents when the light turns red. They've essentially trained humans and our vehicles to crack nuts for them. They're using us as tools. In other cities, crows have learned to ride subway trains, boarding at one stop, riding for several stations, then exiting at parks where food is plentiful. They understand schedules, routes, and connections. Some researchers joke that crows have better knowledge of public transit than many commuters. But perhaps the most mind-bending crow behavior involves gift-giving. Yes, you read that correctly. Around the world, people who regularly feed crows report finding small gifts left in return. Shiny objects, buttons, even jewelry. One girl in Seattle fed crows for years. She documented over 70 gifts they brought her, including a pearl earring and a rusty heart-shaped pendant. Scientists debate whether this is true gift-giving or just caching behavior, but the pattern is striking. Crows seem to reciprocate kindness. This raises profound questions about animal emotions. Do crows feel gratitude? Do they form bonds beyond mere association? The evidence suggests yes. Crows have been observed mourning their dead, holding what can only be described as funerals. They gather around the body, calling out in specific ways, and remember the location for years afterward, avoiding it. They also appear to learn from these gatherings, identifying and remembering any threats present when a crow dies. This combination of intelligence, emotion, and social complexity makes corvids unlike almost any other bird family. So why don't we hear more about this? Why isn't crow intelligence common knowledge? Part of it is historical bias. For centuries, Western science dismissed animals as automatons, biological machines without real thought. Philosopher Descartes famously claimed animals were mere machines, incapable of real feeling or reasoning. This view dominated for generations. Only in recent decades have we developed tools and methods sensitive enough to detect animal intelligence on its own terms. The other issue? Crows are common. We see them every day, so we assume they're ordinary. This is the paradox of familiarity. The things closest to us often remain the most mysterious, simply because we stop looking. If crows were rare tropical birds, we'd probably consider them among the world's most intelligent animals. But because they raid our garbage and caw at dawn, we see them as pests rather than marvels. What can humans learn from crow intelligence? Perhaps the most important lesson is about different kinds of minds. For too long, we measured animal intelligence against human intelligence, as if we're the only valid standard. But crows show us that intelligence can take radically different forms, shaped by different evolutionary pressures and lifestyles. A crow doesn't need to understand calculus or write poetry, but it can solve spatial problems, plan for uncertainty, and remember individual faces for years. These skills emerged because they helped crows survive and thrive. In their world, they're not just intelligent, they're perfectly designed. There's also something humbling about crow intelligence. It reminds us that consciousness and cognition aren't uniquely human. We share this planet with other thinking, feeling beings who experience the world in ways we're only beginning to understand. This should change how we treat animals, how we think about conservation, and how we design our cities. If crows can solve problems that stump children, perhaps we should consider them neighbors and collaborators rather than nuisances. Some cities are already taking this approach, creating crow-friendly spaces and studying how to coexist peacefully. The research also opens fascinating possibilities for the future. Could we communicate with crows meaningfully? Some researchers are developing AI systems that translate crow calls, hoping to decode their complex communication system. Others wonder if we could train crows for environmental monitoring, using their intelligence and flight to track pollution or invasive species. It might sound like science fiction, but given what we now know about crow cognition, it's not as far-fetched as it once seemed. So the next time you see a crow, take a moment to really look. That bird watching you might be assessing your face. It might remember you years from now. It might even decide whether you're friend or foe and tell its whole community. In that moment of eye contact, you're not looking at a simple animal. You're meeting another intelligent mind. A mind shaped by different forces, adapted to different challenges, but capable of thought, memory, planning, and perhaps even emotion. The story of crow intelligence isn't just about how smart birds can be. It's about expanding our understanding of intelligence itself. It challenges us to look past our prejudices, to see brilliance in unexpected places, and to respect the many ways a mind can work. When researchers tested crows against children, they didn't just discover smart birds. They discovered that we've been looking at intelligence all wrong. Maybe the question isn't whether crows are as smart as humans. Maybe the question is, are we smart enough to recognize their intelligence? Because if a creature with a brain the size of a walnut can pass tests that stump our children, then intelligence might be far more common, far more diverse, and far more wonderful than we ever imagined. The crows are watching us, learning from us, adapting to us. The question is, are we paying attention? Because the most remarkable thing about crow intelligence isn't what they can do. It's what it reveals about the countless other minds we share this world with, each brilliant in their own way.